Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about gut health and fertility. These two things are inextricably connected because if you have poor gut health, your body is not able to extract what it needs from the food that you eat in order to promote good reproductive health. And this is the thing that we don't really see connected in fertility spaces, because if we did, it would speak to some of these really heavy protocols that happen in the IVF and the IUI and the egg retrieval space. That is not to dog them whatsoever, but it is also to empower you with the information that if that is the avenue that you are taking and you already have gut issues going on, gas, bloating, constipation, lots of food intolerances that just pop up out of nowhere, this is all pointing to a gut dysfunction. And in order to improve your fertility or just improve the outcomes of some of these assisted reproductive technologies, you need to go to work at figuring out what is wrong with your gut first, bringing resolve to that issue, and then going into trying. Because if you try and get pregnant through lots of gut issues, I can promise you it will be far more challenging than if you try and resolve what's going on and then try to conceive. As a reminder, if you're new here, I'm Bianca, a fertility diet and lifestyle coach, a professionally trained chef, and a certified holistic nutritionist. And I help people get and stay pregnant through understanding how to make their body baby friendly. Nutrients are very important to fertility. Nutrients are very important for immunity, for digestion, for good skin. Nutrients are important. And when you have a gut issue, your nutrient absorption is impaired. And that means that even if you are eating the best quality food, it has all of the amazing things in it, if your gut is not in a position to be able to digest it effectively, you are not getting what you think you are getting. And nutrient absorption is very important because it also speaks to liver health. Phase 1 liver detox requires enzymes and hydration from the food that we eat, broken down in the gut, that then helps with removal of dangerous toxins. Meaning the food and the enzymes in the food and the hydration, what they do is they bind to all of these bad things, make them water soluble, and then they go into the second phase of liver detox where they are removed from our body through our waste. Our number 1 or our number 2. Now, if you are not digesting your food properly, that means that those enzymes that you require for phase 1 liver detox and therefore phase 2 liver detox are not able to be extracted as effectively. Meaning your body is not getting the nutrients it needs to fund all of the things that it requires in life, like good fertility, but you are also not getting what you need in order to detox your body effectively. There's so much said about liver detox, do this kit, do this cleanse, do this juice. And it really is about understanding what happens before things even get to your liver and supplementing and giving your body what it needs so that it can do all of those processes effectively. It will not come from just taking a probiotic every day. It will not come from just having a bite of sauerkraut a day. You have to be very intentional about many things. And so one of the best ways to get your food to be absorbed better is to understand blood sugar balance in relation to gut health. Because when you have a blood sugar inconsistency, so you have a spike in your blood sugar, a dip in your blood sugar, or a spike and then a dip, which is called reactive hypoglycemia, what happens is you go into a cortisol response. What that means is your body, thinking it has to fight for its life or run for it, floods your arms and your legs with all of the resources, aka energy, blood, everything, to your arms and your legs, thinking you have to fight because it will deprioritize food and digestion and fertility because it's like, that is not going to save us in this moment. Now, if that happens, what happens is you are robbed of the resources in your digestive area to digest your food effectively. And so from the first moment you take that bite, even if it hasn't hit your gut yet, you are already telling yourself and your body what is going to happen with nutrient absorption before anything even reaches your gut system. So understanding that at the top of the pyramid for good gut health is good blood sugar balance, because we want to keep those resources where they need to be for good digestive function. And if you are always having this cortisol response every time you eat, you are not absorbing nutrients effectively, and therefore not able to do liver detox effectively. But because of that cortisol response that's happening at the top end, you are also causing inflammation on your body, which is the closed door. It's locked. Fertility is on the other side, and you do not have the key. And so that is why it's important to understand that the gut is so important, because it is the portal, it is the pathway of all the things. But before you get to the pathway, you have to have a map. And the map to that pathway of things going well is blood sugar balance. I cannot stress this enough, because I see this with clients all the time. They're eating all the right food. We'll go through a typical day of eating and all the food is right, but how they are eating the food is potentially incorrect. And so that is where you need to bring resolve, because again, you can feel like you're doing everything, but if no one has taught you how to eat for good blood sugar balance, and then by extension of that, good gut health and good liver health, then you are not getting the full story. So the estroblome is a collection of gut bacteria that helps to digest and process estrogen in the gut and then removes it or redistributes it throughout the body. It's a very important set of bacteria. And if you do not have good estroblome function, that is bad for estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance is bad because that can mean progesterone, lower progesterone, because your estrogen is beating it down. And so having good estroblome function means that your estrogen function is going to be, estrogen levels are going to be far more regulated. There's more to it, but that is part of it. And so that's why when you see people that are taking a probiotic, but eating a ton of processed foods and, drinking a lot of alcohol, taking a lot of medication, they take a Tylenol for the smallest little pain. That is, again, it's like 1 foot forward. We're taking like 10 steps back in that case, because the estroblome is not just fed by taking a probiotic. It's also fed by eating things that have prebiotic function, by eating whole foods that are going to have lots of fiber, lots of healthy fats, lots of protein, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, in addition to eating foods that have a probiotic effect. And the thing is so many people get it wrong because they think, oh, well, I'm taking this Bloom supplement and I'm taking colostrum and I'm doing all of these things, but it's like, those are supplements. Supplement is meant to supplement what you are already doing from a lifestyle perspective. And so one of the best things that you can do for your gut health and for estroblome and gut bacteria is to eat the right kind of carbohydrates. And yes, you will get a lot of prebiotic fibers from things like the seeds and berries. Love those, also super high antioxidant content. But if you understand resistant starch, which is taking certain starches, certain carbohydrates, like potatoes and rice are my favorite. You cook them one time, cool them completely, and what happens is they develop something called resistant starch. Now, this acts as a prebiotic, so it's the food that probiotics eat, but it also has less of a carb reaction in the body, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar quite as much. So it's like you're getting a twofold benefit. You're feeding good gut health, but you're also making sure that you're not disrupting gut function because you're having a negative blood sugar effect because you ate that carbohydrate. The estroblome is very important, and I believe in probiotics. I am a probiotic person. I believe in them very strongly. Whenever I stop taking my probiotic, I notice, and many of my clients are the same. That being said, it is meant to supplement the diet that's already there, some of the habits that are already there, understanding how to eat the food that you eat. Because if you are depriving your estroblome of what it needs in order to function properly, and you already have other things going on, your estrogen is not going to be as well regulated as it needs to be. And the other things I'm talking about is if you have a lot of fragrance, if you use like Febreze, lots of Bath and Body Works, you're burning candles, those create fake xenoestrogens in the body, which raises your estrogen level. And so bringing those down, the use of those down, but then also making sure to fund really good estroblome function means that we're going from bad to good. But it all happens in the totality of a full plan. When people are like, I'm working on my gut health, and I ask them what they're doing, and they're like, oh, well, I take a probiotic and I'm eating this one thing. And it's like, well, has anyone taught you how to eat? Has anyone explained to you the function of your gut and why it's important and why it's the portal? And that is a very rare occurrence that people are like, yes, I know all of these things. And so if you are trying to heal your gut in tandem with trying to improve your fertility. It comes down to many things, but understanding blood sugar balance and also understanding how to feed good estroblome function in your body will be game changing for you. So I mentioned inflammation before, and I'm going to talk about it again because inflammation is total body. If you have inflammation in your mouth and in your gums, that could cause you to have a heart attack. That's how widespread and total body inflammation is. And when you are inflamed, your fertility is impaired. I don't care what anyone says. It just is. Because your body is busy trying to just manage what is happening as far as the inflammation in your body that it cannot be concerned with fertility, which is a luxury function. And when you have poor gut function, that will lead to more inflammation. But a lot of people have poor gut function because of what they eat. Now, we talked about how to eat and balancing your blood sugar, but also what to eat. I'm on TikTok a lot. I'm perpetually online sometimes, you could say. But in being perpetually online, I see on TikTok, I see on Instagram, I even see here on YouTube, people talking about, I had this protein bar and this protein shake and this protein pizza crust and this smoothie and this, and it's like, yes, that food has a lot of protein in it, but it has artificial flavors, artificial colorings. Even if it's like, oh, it's made with natural flavors, that does not mean anything. That is a marketing term. And I also would argue that you shouldn't have to read labels to understand, is this a natural food? Is this a whole food? Just eat a single ingredient food and you will be fine. And so one of the things that I see a lot is inflammation by virtue of what is being eaten, because your gut is like, yo, what is all of this? What do I do with all of this? Like, yes, there's protein in here, but what else am I having to deal with? And then it just passes it on to your liver and says, I don't know, man, you deal with it. And then that bogs your liver down, as opposed to feeding good first phase liver detox. And so I say all of this to say that if you eat a lot of processed foods, you need to stop. Full stop, full scale. I mean, 85% of the time, no processed foods. The other 15, you're living. I save space for that. That being said, if you are dealing with IBS, you have to get rid of all the processed foods. IBS is essentially, we don't know. That's like a we don't know diagnosis. Like something's going on, but we don't know what it is. If you have just like wonky digestion, you have to stop eating processed foods. There's something going on and you are not helping. Because when you remove processed foods, then we can actually start doing true diagnostics of like what's really going on. We can start testing whole foods, because often I'll see people and they'll say, oh, I'm allergic to gluten. I can't have bread. It tears me up. And they're like, because when I went to McDonald's or Arby's or even Panera, and I always get a stomach ache after. And it's like, well, is it the bread or is it the fact that you're having Panera? And once we remove some of those things, then we can actually start to isolate and target, okay, this thing causes gas and bloating, but why? This thing causes constipation, but why? Because it might not be that you can't digest it. It might be that your body is not in a place to digest it currently in its current state. But if you are eating foods that your body cannot digest effectively and it is giving you cues, you have to pay attention to that, because if you don't, that will lead to inflammation, and that means that your fertility will be impaired. And I say this all the time. There are people that get pregnant all the time, eating the worst diet, taking drugs, drinking, like, yes, that happens. But if you're over 35, if you are over 40, it's probably not going to be the case. Generally, it might happen as an exception, but it is not the rule. And so understanding your diet is so vital. Your lifestyle is huge. I say that all the time. Diet will take you to 60%, lifestyle will take you that last 40. But if you are not being mindful of what is happening in your diet, 60%, which is over 50% of the influence, is not being well thought of. And so it's important when we're talking about gut health that we understand that everything that we eat is processed through our gut. If it is devoid of nutrients that our gut can then use to make our bodies feel better, to fund really good nutrient absorption and energy and immunity, but also fund good fertility, if there is not enough of those things within the food that you eat, you are going to keep bumping up against resistance. You will not heal your gut with a cleanse kit that you buy. buy, with a juice cleanse kit that you buy, by just taking probiotics. Like, that is not how you're going to heal your gut. I'm so sorry to tell you. I wish it was easier. But the thing about gut health is it is daily habits that you have to consistently put one in front of the other. Because if you do something today for your gut health, you can't expect your gut health to be good next week. You have to do it every single day leading up to next week. And that's the thing about gut health. And that's the thing about blood sugar balance. It's the thing about all of these habits, that you have to make them a lifestyle. Because if you are just doing it in the mindset of like a diet, I'm just going to do this until I get pregnant, well, then what happens after? You're going to feel shitty again? That doesn't make any sense. And so I always say to people, figure out 2 things to do for your blood sugar balance. 2 things to do for your gut health, 2 things to do for your liver health. Inflammation and cortisol all pretty much take care of themselves when you do 3 things for those 3 pillars. And then adopt them, make them a part of your lifestyle, make them a part of your habits, stack them on top of each other, see how good you feel, and then pick 2 other things that you're going to now do and stack on top. That is how the lifestyle is created. But you will not heal your gut by just doing piecemeal things here and there. It is a whole body, a total lifestyle shift. But because you feel so good when you do it, you're going to want to continue to do it. This is one of those things I always say to people is like, when you're like, and some people will look at me and say, oh my God, you do so many things for your health and for your fertility, because I am in the preservation phase of my fertility journey. And I'll say it seems like a lot, but it's not like I started doing them all at once. I slowly built into this and grew into this. And now it is my lifestyle. I couldn't imagine doing anything differently. And so if this feels like a very far swing from how you live, just do 1 or 2 things for 2 weeks, make them habits, then add another 2 things. Make them habits, then add another 2 things. In 3 months' time, the maturation cycle of an egg and also of sperm, you will be completely made anew. You will feel different. Your body will function differently. And that is where you create the beautiful environment for abundant fertility, but not just abundant fertility, abundant vitality. A healthy gut is vital for good egg quality, good sperm quality, good hormonal balance, good hormonal regulation. Like your gut needs to be on point. If there's something going on in that area, we need to bring resolve and fix that before we just try and go pushing to get pregnant, especially if you're doing IVF, IUI, or egg retrieval. You want to make sure that your gut is in a position to be able to deliver all the nutrients your body needs to support you through all of what's going on. Otherwise, you'll not only feel depleted in this process, but you might not get the outcome that you want. And my goal here is to help you get and stay pregnant. So if you like this video, like it, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. I love having you here because I want you to know that when it comes to your fertility, you are in the driver's seat. It can feel very like, well, I'm trying and it's not working, or I'm trying and we're experiencing losses. And it can feel just like you don't know what's happening and it's just bad luck. It is not bad luck. Instead, we have to be looking really closely at what is going on with you. So often in this space, it's like we just talk about the sperm and the egg, but it's a female and a male. It is a human being and a human being. And when we look and we ask the human being what is going on, we can get the kind of diagnostics that can actually point to us where we need to do the work. So you're in the driver's seat. I hope to help.